This is the first time I ever spent $300 on a card. The Tournament Pack 3 Needleworm. Because I really wanted to build a mill deck. I wasn't a popular kid. This is not that version. This version is worth $4 from the Legendary Collection. But, you know, good times. Good times. I've got a story for you about Yu-Gi-Oh! I wanted to take a moment and quickly reflect on the death of Kazuki Takahashi, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! He died at 60 yesterday, technically. He was found, I believe he was found today, at sea, no less, which is tragic in its own right. But I wanted to take a moment and talk about something that was kind of a pivotal moment for me in card games and how Yu-Gi-Oh! Was kind of the thing that made that happen. Now, I haven't followed Yu-Gi-Oh! In a long time. I used to play back when I was a kid, when it first came out. I started off with Star Wars CCG. I jumped into Pokemon when that came out. All of my cards got stolen, so I jumped into Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's what started. I even recently tried to rebuild my win deck from Yu-Gi-Oh! I had a thing dealing with Grey Wings and special summons, and I liked it at the time. I can't keep up with the rules now. I can't, and my eyes are not good enough to read text that small. But you know, it's a game that has had staying power. It has stuck around. It is part of the big three to show that it's staying power, and it has stuck around for a long time. It's definitely tragic for the community. But the reason that I wanted to get on and share my experience, or at least I wanted to share kind of a quick story, is because the Yu-Gi-Oh TCG is when I kind of discovered something about card games and the power of them that I didn't really appreciate until I kind of had to combat an angry mom. That's going to be how this story starts. So I'm going to I'm going to crack a beer real quick in honor, which since it was kind of around the time, it's, you know, Ivy Wild School. I'm just going back to the old elementary days. I was a little older than elementary school at this point. But I was still kind of in the scene. So this is a tropical pale ale from Bristol Brewing, called the Ivy Wild School, of which their brewery is at the Ivy Wild School. They gutted an elementary school and turned it into a brewery, and they didn't do much else with it, which is great. Like, all the boards are still there. You can still learn the alphabet by reading the walls in the bathroom, which is sometimes useful if you need to take a drunk driving test. Not that I actually ever have, mind you. Thankfully. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, that's Tropical Pale Ale. Boom, Ivy Wild, the glass. It's the only weeby one I got. I got it at Origins Game Fair earlier or last month. So Kamigami Battles. It is like the only anime glass I have. But like I said, I wanted to do a quick cheers, quick pour, and share a little story about Yu-Gi-Oh. So, boom. First things first, though. Mr. Takahashi, this is for you. Cheers. Cheers, sir. Rest in peace. Anyway, story time. Quick. I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! When it first came out, 2002. I was on a kind of a bad string recently. Anyway, I mentioned earlier, you know, like I played Pokemon. All those cards got stolen. Star Wars CCG was kind of going down the crapper at that point. It was kind of the end. You know, all of that. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Popped in. I enjoyed the mechanics. It was great. I enjoyed like getting into the ground floor again, although I didn't quite know what that meant, and that meant something different then than it did now. But anyway, I got into the game, and one of the things that was available at the time was Wizards of the Coast. WotC had retail locations. They had them for like 6 years, kind of around the turn of the century, turn of the millennium. I think 9/11 actually crushed them, because this was like the tail end. But as they were just getting themselves opened, I would help run events. I would help run tournaments for various card games. I knew Pokemon enough. I was actually a judge in Yu-Gi-Oh! A level 1 judge, so I would help run tournaments, so the one guy at the game counter could actually do his job. And I remember one night specifically, there was a tournament going on, or I think it was just league play. It was just standard organized play night. You know, the demographic for the game's like 8 to 10. That's about what you're seeing. So there's a ton of kids there and whatnot. So I'm like, yeah, I can run and make sure that they're all playing by rules, or at least not hitting each other or stealing anything. So I helped out. And there was a kid there who, the kid doesn't matter right now. It's his mom that matters. He was kind of left for a little bit so he can play Yu-Gi-Oh! When she went to go shop. She came back to go pick him up. And he wanted some cards. He wanted to buy some cards. And mom clearly had not been buying cards very often. Because she looked at the pack, she looked at the price, and was like, no way. No way. And there was an issue. It was $4, or I think it was like $3.50 at the time, for 9 pieces of cardboard. 9 pieces of cardboard. That's what she saw. That's what she read into. It was like, you're getting 9 things, and it's going to cost me this much. So she was like, no, very aggressive, no. So the kid, frustrated, went to go finish his game, stormed off in a huff. And I kind of listened to that. And I don't know what clicked. I don't know what really happened. And maybe it's because I was helping teach my graphic design class, kind of in spurts as I visited home, from Florida. I would be like, hey, I'd love to teach your graphic design. I'd love to come in and kind of guest teach for a day. So maybe it was that. Maybe I was looking at it from that angle. But I listened to that complaint of $3.50, $4 for 9 pieces of cardboard. And I went up to her and was like, look at your kid for a sec. And it wasn't like, go look at your kid. It was like, I know you're frustrated about the cost and whatnot, but look at what your kid's doing right now. And these are things we take for granted as adults. We don't think about this any as adults because it's just ingrained in our head. But he's learning reading skills and math and critical thinking and strategic planning and resource management and social skills and all of these things that come from those 9 pieces of cardboard. And granted, it came from a little bit more, but starter decks were $10, so you can get a lot out of that. And he's learning all of these things willingly, excitedly, and he's spending hours doing it. You're telling me that's, I know it's kind of hard to see 9 pieces of cardboard and just say you're not going to get anything out of that, but that's what he's getting out of that. And she couldn't stop that. She didn't really have a response to that because that's what was happening. He's over there slinging. He's, saying, I throw this down. It's, I summon Blue Eyes White Dragon, and he didn't tribute, but it didn't matter. They were having fun. It's 3,000 damage. He's coming after your attack monster. That's 1,600, so you take 1,400 damage. And he's determining if I should put something in defense position. He's doing all these things, and he's talking with people who he's never met before. And it's like they've been friends for ages. She came back every week. They both did, and she picked up on it. And I picked up on it. What do you find for $4 that does those? That has that kind of power? That's just not a thing. And that was a cool moment. And I never looked at card games the same way after that. I always appreciated them for, what they can teach as kids. And again, as adults, we've done all of that. It's stuff that we just don't really think about. But man, that value was pretty incredible. So that's my story. I know you could say stuff about that as Pokemon or Magic the Gathering or any of the other games out there. For me, this kind of revelation and realization happened with Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's always going to be a special moment for me. And I thank Mr. Takahashi and everybody who was a part of it. They did something really special. So thank you, Yu-Gi-Oh, and rest in peace, sir. You did a great thing.